Okay, class, so everybody has their Earth Changes books out?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, what I want you to do first is, let's go through this first page together. So this is our first time looking at our new book, Earth Changes. So let's go ahead and open up to the second page. And let's look at this question. So this is our essential question here. How do Earth's natural processes impact our lives? So I want you just to think about that for a moment. And look at these pictures here on the page. So, how do Earth's natural processes impact our lives? As we look at these images, what do we think about? What are we thinking of, class? Well, first off, let's think, what are the Earth's natural processes? Does anybody want to take a guess? Yes, Jesus? Excuse me? Natural disasters, yep. Edwin? Tsunamis, yep, that's an example. George, you want to?
Tornadoes and earthquakes.
Tornadoes and earthquakes, correct? Alejandro? You guys are all on the great track. You guys are all perfect right there. Excuse me? Volcanoes erupting, yes. And Lexi, did I see your hand up? Okay. Yeah, that's right. Let's look at these pictures right here. So at the look at these images, we see it looks like this family right here has got impacted by the natural, Earth's natural processes. You can't really tell which one it is, but you can tell that they probably lived in their home, but now this is a temporary home. They have to live here for now because of the Earth's natural process that happened to it. And then when we look at this picture, what do we think happened right here? Yeah, this probably happened because of an earthquake. You know, so an earthquake made this happen. And then what do we think is happening right here in this picture? Probably a tsunami, or what else? What's another type of a wave? Yeah, it's a big wave.
In the water?
George?
Tornado in the water?
There's something there's a certain name for that, something that's called a tornado in the water.
Oh.
What's it called?
A whirlpool or something? Earthquake?
Almost. It starts with an H.
Hurricane.
Hurricane, yeah. This is probably a hurricane. Or a tsunami. You can't really tell.
Right
It's
when
just
he
a
said
picture.
H, I was gonna say hurricane. Or he said
Yeah.
open up.
Excellent. So as we are reading this book, we're going to be thinking about this question the entire time. So we're going to be going back to this question and asking ourselves, how do Earth's natural processes impact our lives? So let's keep this question in mind. So now everybody please turn the next page to page 4. And we are going to look at earthquakes today. So today we're going to learn about the Earth's natural processes by reading this text. But before we read, I want you to skim and look through this text, okay? And I want you to ask yourselves, what do you notice about this? So it's only these 2 pages, page 4 and 5. So look at these pages, just skim through it. Just don't read every single word, but just scan through it and ask yourselves, what do you notice about it? What kind of information do you think we will learn from it? I want you to think to yourself those 2 questions right now. So just please go ahead and skim through the text for a minute. Just look at the pictures and just everything.
What's a scan? Scan.
So just skim through these pages, just look at it really fast. So what did you notice about it? What do you guys notice about the text right here? Alejandro?
There's a guy on top of a big mountain.
A guy on top of a big mountain. Okay. What else, Jesus?
It's showing a table of how strong the earthquake is.
Yeah, it's showing right here a seismograph. Good job. Rihanna? Excuse me? Oh, it's showing right here how the earth is earthquaking.
Where all the earthquakes have happened.
Good job. Edwin?
Does it have your map showing
map of the road right here? Okay. Good job. So now what we're going to do is I am going to read through this text all together on my own, and I want you to please follow along. So I will read the whole text to you one time through. Okay? So please pay attention and follow along as I am reading. Earthquakes by Kathy Fergang. Every day, an average of 50 earthquakes are detected on Earth's surface. Why do some earthquakes cause major destruction while others go by almost unnoticed? The answer is in the amount of energy they release. So, what causes earthquakes? An earthquake is a sudden movement or shift of Earth's crust. This thin outer layer is made of many interlocking pieces called tectonic plates. These plates float on a layer of hot molten rock and move as slowly as fingernails grow. As they move, they rub against one another, building up stored energy and pressure. When these plates shift or collide at their boundaries, an earthquake happens. Earth's surface rumbles and shakes as the energy is released. So after looking at this paragraph right here, class, there's a lot of big vocabulary words in here. So for example, tectonic plates. So tectonic plates are all of these images that are right here on the map on page 4. So on page 4, it shows all of the tectonic plates that we have here in the world. So there's the North American plate, the Cocos plate, Pacific plate, Caribbean plate, and so on. Okay? And what these plates do, as we see right here in this image on the bottom, so these plates are right here rubbing up against each other. And as these plates rub against each other, they build a lot of energy and pressure. And when these plates shift or collide at their boundaries, then the earthquake happens. So when these boundaries make a shift, because they're always constantly moving little by little, but whenever there's a big shift or if they collide, then boom, that's how we get an earthquake, due to these tectonic plates that are all over the world. These plates are always constantly moving little by little, as it shows that they move as slowly as fingernails grow. And they move and rub up against each other, building up and storing energy and pressure. So this is what tectonic plates are. And the caption right here on the bottom says, it says, most earthquakes occur along the boundaries of Earth's tectonic plates. That's exactly where earthquakes occur, is along the boundaries of the Earth's tectonic plates. Well, Edwin, did you have a question?
Mr. had when they cannot hold more like pressure, what happens to the plates?
Then the plates, they have an earthquake, and then we'll learn about it more right here in these next paragraphs, okay? And that's a great question. So now we're on page 5, paragraph 3. Measuring quakes. Scientists can measure the strength or magnitude of an earthquake with an instrument called a seismograph. In one type of seismograph, seismic waves cause a drum to vibrate as a weighted pen records the vibrations. The longer the lines, the greater the energy released by the quake. So right here on page 5, they give us an example of how a seismograph looks like. So this is the seismograph with the drum and a pen. So right here is the pen, you guys can see. And these little lines right here, they show how big the earthquake is or how small the earthquake is. So for example, we see, if you look right here at the beginning, like right here, the line looks pretty small. The lines going back and forth are fairly small. But then once they go more up, you see the lines get wider. And the more wider that they get, that means the bigger that the earthquake is. So this is how we measure an earthquake by using a seismograph. The seismograph is what scientists use to figure out if an earthquake is going to be really, really big or if it's going to just be kind of small. And you guys want to know a very fun fact? Is that yesterday there was actually an earthquake here in California. Did you know that?
No.
There was an earthquake yesterday in California, but did you guys feel it?
No.
I didn't feel it. You know, so there's a lot of little earthquakes that happen every day. You know, but you know most of the earthquakes are fairly small. But sometimes we get a very big earthquake, and we can feel it, and everything is shaking, and even buildings collapse sometimes. Edwin, you had a question?
Yeah, and those earthquakes every day happen and we can't feel them?
Sometimes there's little earthquakes. Like look, back right here on the first, look at this right here on paragraph 1. It says every day an average of 50 earthquakes are detected on Earth's surface. So that's all around Earth. That every day there's about 50 earthquakes that happen. But most of them are little ones that happened here in California yesterday. So some of them are small, but some of them are very big. Yes, Lexi?
Every time when I go to bed, I always feel shaky.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay. So now let's move on to the next 2 paragraphs. Earth's changing surface. The movement of Earth's tectonic plates reshapes Earth's landscape, building landforms such as mountains and valleys and other land features. As plates move apart, valleys, rivers, and even oceans can form. The Himalayan mountain range in Asia, for example, was formed when the Indo-Australian and Eurasian plates came together. The plates collided and pushed upward, slowly forming the mighty mountain range over the last 10 millions of years. So right here we have the image of the Himalayas. And Edwin had a great question earlier. He said, what happens when the 2 plates collide? When the 2 plates collide, we get mountain ranges. Just like we did right here in the Himalayas. When the 2 tectonic plates collide and the pressure is very big, then we can get a mountain range. Or whenever the plates move apart, that's how we get our valleys and rivers and even oceans can form. So earthquakes can do a lot of different things to our Earth's surface. Okay? So now what I want you to do is I am going to do this first paragraph with you all. So first here, let me write down what we are going to be doing. So you don't have to write this down, it's okay. I'll write this down and leave it up here for you. So our purpose, so what we're going to be doing right now. Our purpose is we're going to read to learn about what an earthquake is, where earthquakes happen, and how they reshape the earth. Okay? All the information we need is here in the text, but I want you to be investigators and go through and figure out how, the information, the evidence to these answers. So, I'm just gonna write down the question.
Can we write it down if we want to?
You may write it down if you want, but you don't need to write it down because I will leave it up here for you. But right here on the margin, you guys have this information. You guys have the margin right here in your book. You guys can write this down if you want, but I would save it so you guys can write down the answers to the questions that we're about to go through and do together. Read. So I'm going to put stars right here next to the big questions. So what an earthquake is? The next question is where earthquakes happen? And the last question is how they reshape the earth. to read to learn these 3 questions. These are the 3 questions that I really want you guys to learn. So how you're going to do that is, I want you to, I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to read paragraph 1, and then I want you to annotate, okay?
Are we able to use our own words?
I would like for you to use evidence from the text. So you may use your own words, but try to include some evidence from the text when you guys are answering these questions, okay? Okay, so hold on. So what I want you to do, and what I'm going to do an example of and model right now, is annotating and underlining the important information in the text. So annotate means to underline important information. Okay, so here we go. We'll do paragraph 1 together, and I'll show you an example of what I want you to do for paragraphs 2, 3, 4, and 5. You have a question, Edwin? Can you try to hold it? Okay. Because you just went to the restroom before, so you should be fine. So paragraph 1. Every day an average of 50 earthquakes are detected on Earth's surface. Do you think that's a very important statement right there, or do you think that's not that important?
Yes, it is.
I think that's important. So what I want to underline is that an average of 50 earthquakes are detected on Earth's surface. Well, basically, we could underline the whole first sentence. That first sentence is a very key detail that tells us that every day an average of 50 earthquakes are detected on Earth's surface. So this is called annotating. You're figuring out what's important, and then you underline the text, the words in the text. So next is, why do some earthquakes cause major destruction while others go by almost unnoticed? Do we think we should underline that sentence? Well, technically, it's a question, so we don't need to underline a question. It's just a question that's telling us something. So we shouldn't underline this information because it's just a question. So next is, the answer is in the amount of energy they release. So, what we can underline is right here where it says the amount of energy they release, okay? So that is an example of what I would like you to do now by yourselves in paragraphs 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you are to try to find the answer to these questions. So, the first question I want you to look for is, what an earthquake is, and you're going to try, it's somewhere right here in the text, okay? And then where earthquakes happen, and how they reshape the earth. So read through these paragraphs right here, and then underline where the answer is at, okay? So I want you to underline where you think the answer is, okay? And then I'll give you a few minutes to read and annotate and answer these questions. And after you guys finish reading and annotating, then I'm going to have you talk to a partner about the answers. I want you to ask your partner, oh, what did you get? What is an earthquake? And then what did you get for how earthquakes happen? Okay? So right now, for the next few minutes on your own, I want you to reread these paragraphs and then underline the key information to help you find the answer to these questions, okay? Okay, go ahead and start on that now. If you have any questions, please let me know and I will come around and assist you if you need help with any vocabulary words or anything that you may be unfamiliar with. Alright guys, I want you to, Saul, Ian, get out, turn to page 4.
Mister, what happens if you're in front of them?
Excuse me?
What happens if you're in front of them?
Well, then that's good, then just continue reading. Just wait, I'll give you guys a few minutes. So Ian and Saul. So what I want you guys to do right now in Seoul is I want you guys to read these paragraphs right here, okay? And then I want you to try to find the answer to these questions, okay? We'll go through it together as a class right now, but I want you on your own to read these paragraphs and then try to figure out what an earthquake is, where earthquakes happen, and how they reshape Earth. So all your answers are going to be right here in the text. So on your own, I want you to try to find the answer to these questions, okay? If you need help, I'll come around and help you guys, okay? So go ahead and start reading this and try to find the answer to these questions. Underline it when you guys find it in the text, okay? The answers are in the text, so underline the information when you find it. Yes.
Can you write this like here for
If you would like to write it, yeah, that's fine. Any other question? Which word measure? So scientists can measure the strength and magnitude of an earthquake. So what measuring is, it's like when you have a ruler, and you're measuring something. So you have measuring tape. That's what measuring is. You want to figure out how big something is or how long it is. Okay? That makes sense? Then also a quick hint as well, guys. The answers may also be not just in the paragraphs, but you guys have to look at the images and the captions as well in the text. Okay? So look at everything. Look at all the information, even the pictures and the captions that are in the text. That will help you find your answers. Make sure you underline it when you find it. Yeah. No, you don't have to write it. That's fine. I just set those questions there for you to look at. You finished? Yes. What happened? Where? After which one? Where earthquakes happen? Oh, the last one is how they reshape the earth. You don't have to write that down, it's fine, as long as you can read it. So it looks like you already found the first one. So now you need to figure out where earthquakes happen. So you could even look at the images right here. So where would earthquakes happen? Okay. And then the last one is how they reshape the earth. Okay. So that will probably be figured right now. everybody doing? You guys almost done, or do you guys need about another like 2 minutes or so?
I'm done.
Let me see a raise of hands of students who are already finished. Just about half of the students are done. Okay. I'll give you guys about another 2 minutes, okay? And then I would like for you to share with the partner, but that'll be in 2 minutes. So just go ahead and try to figure it out on your own for the next 2 minutes. Okay, everybody's had about enough time to try to find the answer to these questions. So now what I want you to do is partner up, and with your partner, ask each other what you guys got for your answers, and you guys can help each other out for figuring out these 3 questions. So these 3 questions that you guys are going to be talking about with your partner is what an earthquake is, where earthquakes happen, and how they reshape the earth. So I'm going to partner you guys up, and I want you guys to ask each other these questions and share with each other what you guys got for your answer, okay? And if you guys have something different, then you guys could share with each other why you guys think it's different, and then you guys can figure out what you think is the better answer, okay? So let's have Jesus and Saul. You 2 guys talk with each other. Let's do Juan and Jaylene. Let's have Edwin and Lexi. And then Roxana and Jayla. And then you guys could just be a group of 3, since we're on off number, okay? So go ahead and just talk with each other right now, and make sure it's about this. I'm gonna be walking around monitoring your guys' conversation. So go ahead and talk to each other about what you guys got for these answers right now, okay? I want to hear you guys talk. Collaborate, please. You guys have about 5 minutes to do so. You guys just stay in your seats. You guys should be able to hear each other from your seats, okay? No? So you guys talk to each other. Brianna, show them what you got. Just show them what you got since you guys came in late. So you guys throw them in, and then we're going to show what you guys got. Okay? Yeah, you can show them it. No, but just stay in your seat and just read it. Okay? Share with each other what you guys got. So what is the talk about? So what do you think?
Tell me what you
Have it right there. So you guys, looks like you guys both understand. So now I'm going to the next question. Where earthquakes happen? Where do you guys think earthquakes happen? Talk to each other about that, okay? Try to figure it out. Okay? You guys got it? sure you guys don't keep her up. I want you guys all to take turns to share. So, Rihanna, what do you think? Well, what do you think an earthquake is? So now, where do earthquakes happen? What did you guys figure out? Okay. I want to hear you guys say it again. So what is an earthquake? Good job. So then, where do earthquakes happen? Where did you put? But if you guys were to use the text evidence, we could use for text evidence is right here in this quote. Because these are all the plate tectonics right here. And as it says, is that these plates shifted live with the boundaries and an earthquake happened. So most earthquakes occur along boundaries of these tectonic plates. Yeah, so this, because I want you guys to use evidence for your text and make sure you guys have this. And then let's look at the map. So how they shape the earth. So that would be right here in Eastern. Okay, so I'm looking right here. You guys will figure out how they shape the earth. You know, it says that the earth's landscapes, building landforms such as mountains, valleys, and other landscapes. You know, and then even the Himalayan mountains or these applications what can happen. Good job. Make sure you guys have that real okay. So what did you guys get for how they reshape the earth? It's in paragraphs 4 and 5. So try to figure it out. You guys probably figure it out. So how do
Are you guys supposed to announce things?
You guys will be fine.
For me, kind of the same thing.
And I need to put something for
Okay, 2 minutes left for you guys to wrap up your conversations. Okay, 2 minutes.
But the main is erase it. Because
Stay in the seat. Tectonic plates. That's what we're talking about right here on the next page. Tectonic plates are these right here. These are all the tectonic plates. There's a lot of tectonic plates. Those are just plates that are at the bottom of the earth. Like that. You can't see them, but they're there.
so tectonic shapes.
Okay, class. 1, 2, 3, eyes on me.
1, 2, 3,
Okay, good job. So everybody, please, well, you guys are already at your seats, so just focus up now. So now what I want to do is I'm going to call on several students to share with us what you guys got for these answers.
Okay.
Okay? So, for our first question is what an earthquake is. So, Jesus, what is an earthquake? How would you describe that? Using evidence from the text. Okay?
Can I use the evidence from the image too?
Yeah.
An earthquake is a sudden movement of earth. No, an earthquake is a sudden movement or shift of Earth's crust. That's sometimes created inner holes in the ground, like the Grand Canyon and the other places. Well, holes as big as the Grand Canyon and sometimes bigger or smaller. Many earthquakes are happening where people go to either see or escape.
Excellent. Good job, Jesus. So Jesus told us what an earthquake is, and he used evidence from the text right here in the very first sentence in paragraph 2. So we figured out that an earthquake is a sudden movement or shift of the Earth's crust. So that tells us what an earthquake is. So everybody should have this sentence underlined in their book to answer this first question. So what an earthquake is? It tells us right here in paragraph 2, sentence 1. An earthquake is a sudden movement or shift of Earth's crust. So now let's move on to the next question. So where do earthquakes happen? Using evidence from the text, where can we figure out where earthquakes happen? Roxanne?
Most earthquakes occur along the bound area of earthquake
Okay, so it sounded like you said right here, this caption right here, right? Okay, so using evidence from the text, Roxanne saw that right here they're talking about where earthquakes happen. They show us a map right here of the world, and they show us that along these plates is where earthquakes happen. So we can underline this caption right here for our evidence for our answer for the second question. So we see that most earthquakes occur along the boundaries of Earth's tectonic plates. So we're looking at these images right here. So an earthquake can happen right here between the Cocos Plate and the North American Plate, between the South American Plate and Nazca Plate, you know, where all these lines are represented, that's where earthquakes can happen. Okay? So most earthquakes occur along the boundaries of Earth's tectonic plates. That is our answer to question number 2 on where earthquakes happen. Good job, Roxanne. So lastly, let's go into our last question where it says how they reshape the earth. So how do earthquakes reshape the earth? Alejandro? Using evidence from the text. One second, we'll come back to you. George.
The movement of Earth's tectonic plate reshapes the Earth's landscape, building landforms such as mountains, valleys, and other land features.
Excellent. So a hint to help us with figuring that out is how do earthquakes reshape the earth, as well as we look at the subheading right here, Earth's changing surface. So we know that these 2 paragraphs are talking about how earthquakes reshape the earth. And George used evidence from the text, and he said that the movement of Earth's tectonic plates reshapes. That's the key word that we're looking for, reshapes. Earth's landscape, building landforms such as mountains and valleys and other land features. Excellent job, class. You guys did very well in finding out all the information in the text. So make sure that you guys all have this information underlined. So we should have this information in paragraph 4 underlined. That helps us figure out how the the earthquakes reshaped the earth. We should have right here the quote, the caption, on the bottom of page 4, and then right here in paragraph 2, the first sentence. So now we have read about earthquakes and we figured out more information about our essential question. So now, class, let's go back to our essential question. And as we think now, how do Earth's natural processes impact our lives? So now we learned more about how Earth's natural processes can impact our lives. We learned about earthquakes and we learned about exactly what they do and how they can impact the lives of us here in the world. So that will conclude our lesson here in our earthquakes book. Does anybody have any questions before we finish up?
No.
Okay. You guys did wonderful today. You guys were very well, and until next time, we'll continue this. Okay? I will probably want to continue reading this paragraphs with you. So everybody, you can go ahead and put away your close reader books now, and then we are going to get into our next subject.
Bye.